3, 2. I'm George Lang, and this is Static. My guest today, Dr. Pants, described their music as the unnatural spawn of Beck, Weezer, and Fish. And Aaron Vasquez and David Broyles came in to perform some songs from their latest CD, which is called the Cusack-Loggins EP. And you'll understand that title here in a moment. This is Dr. Pants.
When I was a kid, ultimately it was like, well, if you want to do this, you got to learn to play the guitar. That was kind of the thing that had to happen. And so finally, after some piano lessons and whatever in grade school, like when I was in 8th grade, my parents finally got me a guitar, and I kind of went at it pretty early on, very connected to kind of a sort of odd, quirky slant that almost maybe absurdist in some ways, where there were some songs that came out in such a way that maybe it wasn't 100% clear on their surface what they were about, but they were kind of goofy and kind of odd and used some odd imagery, and there's some of them I probably wasn't 100% sure what they were about, but I enjoyed playing with the words so that to get something that was a little bit more out of the ordinary. I discovered some pretty significant artists through the Dr. Demento show, starting out with somebody like, the Dead Milkmen, whose significance could be debated, I'm sure, but leading into, They Might Be Giants, Camper Van Beethoven, Frank Zappa. These were all people that I heard on the Dr. Demento show, and subsequently, within the next year or two after that, bought records by. And that certainly pushed me in that direction. But also, I think, dating back to my childhood, I was a big Beatles fan too, and when I was in junior high, I had never heard all of their music. I had just heard certain portions of their music, and when I was in junior high, I discovered the White Album, and that has some pretty absurd, bizarre little songs on it. People don't always think about that, but it really does, and I think that really was a big piece of the puzzle as well. For me, at least in the past few years, I've definitely become more conscious of making a concerted effort to create a music and create a thing that I would be really excited about if I discovered it. And I think that those ingredients are definitely a part of that picture for me, a part of the thing that it's like, I want to hear this and this and this and, maybe this and this too, all put together in this one thing. And, I think that that shift, I think that happens for a lot of artists as they get older. It's like, well, I'm not really messing around anymore. I really want to make something that I can look back on and be really, really happy with. And I think that that's happened. Sometime early last year, I started thinking about the songs we had, and it had been about a year and a half since we had put out our last full length, and kind of decided that if we were to make a record with just the stuff we had right then, that it probably would kind of turn out a little bit schizophrenic, like even schizophrenic for Dr. Pants. Like I just didn't feel like the songs gelled into a full-length album that I wanted to put out for whatever reason. And so we took just these 5 songs that, and the great thing, I don't know, for me the great thing about an EP is it doesn't have to gel necessarily in the same way that a full-length record does. So I was like, well, we'll just take these songs and we'll make an EP. And then at that point, once I decided that the Cusack song and the Loggins song were both going to be on it, then that kind of led me in the direction of like, oh, okay, we can do something with that. And once I decided it would be the Cusack-Loggins EP and not the Loggins-Cusack EP, or whatever the various combinations were, I was like, this sounds right. We had a really fun kind of just weekend making the record, and it all came together really quickly, and it's been a really positive deal so far. But yeah, I feel like it just kind of to some degree it kind of took shape on its own, but not in a deliberate, quick way. Kind of more that was the way things evolved,